course, is down south at the NatFit Midwest Open, where he has a super match. So it will just be me hosting today, and I have a special guest that I will announce as soon as I take care of the usual housekeeping items, and those are the Patreon memberships. So as usual, we read out the Alpha members every week. Mr. Jeff Frank, Bruce Willis, Barbarian Arm Wrestling, Ready Go Garb, Brian Kerner, and Ready Go Solutions. Thank you guys for your support. We appreciate you. So my guest today is a man that needs no introduction to the majority of the arm wrestling world. It is Mr. Ian Carnegie, the Grippler. Ian, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing well, Ryan. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there, man. So what is happening with you? So we're going to jump around a lot during this show because we like to fly by the seat of our pants a little bit. But what's the updates on the Grippler, man? What are you doing? Are you how's the training? Are you getting ready for anything? You got anything on the horizon? Just give us the full update.
Well, okay, so I am training. It's really tough right now because I'm trying to lose weight and maintain strength, right? So I'm sure you've run into this where it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. I've heard nothing from the WAL because of COVID, right? So my future plans is kind of bleak at the moment, but I do have a super match in principle with Derek Smith.
Now that, of course, in principle, Derek Smith, that's coming up at a TAL event. Is that not correct?
That's right.
What is the target date for that?
I believe mid-June, I think. So it's going to give me time to get prepared. And normally, and I'm not in any way, shape, or form trying to downplay Derek at all. I wasn't too concerned of Derek. I mean, initially, because I had played around with him at practice before, and I kind of handled him. He was strong. He was definitely strong. But after what Devin told me, he's like, I had better train.
Now let's stop this for 1 second, because you originally had said that it looked like Devin really had to try against Derek, but then you told me you were going to have a conversation with him behind closed doors and get the real story. So what is the real story?
I didn't have a detailed conversation with Devin. It was just on Facebook Messenger. I explained to him, I said, I have a super match with Derek, and he then said, look, this dude is for real. I go, really? And I knew he had all the potential in the world. Shit, he's a giant. I think he's taller than Heidebrecht, and he has a big, thick hand. Like, his hand is at least as thick as mine at Devin's length. You know what I mean? So it's like, and I mean, he was, when I practiced with him, this was after the Mike Ayello super match. So, my arms were pretty toast. And I went up to his place and for practice, and I was still able to handle him. But he was like, I knew, you know what I mean? Like, when a guy is close, he's almost there. He's just got to figure it out. Maybe get a 5-10% stronger. Well, Devin is like, he's exceeded that. And when I'm 6 foot. I say I'm 6'1", but I'm 6 foot. And I'm a short 6 foot. I don't have a big, long hand. I don't have long levers. So I try to bring everything as close to the table. He is a big 6'9". You know what I mean? Like, he is a long levered person.
I didn't realize he was that tall.
Oh, or maybe he's not 6'9", but he's taller than Devin substantially.
Really?
It's noticeable. Yeah, it's like that. And I think if Devin's 6'5", then we're looking at least 6'6", 6'7". I'm sure he's taller than Matty. I'm pretty sure.
Wow, that's
he's got presence. Like, he's got a friggin' shoulder base on him like that.
That's interesting, and it makes me excited about that match, because all of a sudden he's a great unknown, right? He could be the guy, a dark horse, and kind of a way for a little while. And it's an exciting time in arm wrestling because there's a bunch of those guys out there right
Corey West. Yeah. Like,
Did you see the news about Corey West?
like all the super matches he's taking, or
Well, he was supposed to pull against Bryce Talton left-handed
I didn't
tomorrow,
get out really.
but it's changed.
Oh,
It's a three-way round robin now with Corey, Bryce, and Cody Merritt.
get out.
Yeah.
Really?
So we're gonna find out where he's at for real.
Yeah, that makes sense.
In
I'm
about
gonna say
24 hours from now.
that guy's nickname totally suits him. I don't think. I think he's definitely one of the leading candidates for the future of the heavyweight division. You got BJ Fokakis, you got Wayne Withers, you got Derek Smith. Am I missing anybody out there?
Passmore.
Yeah, yeah. These guys are really coming on, and I'm looking forward to pulling these guys as well. And I've been so inactive. I need to really make sure that I get on to this as quickly as possible, or be forgotten. That's
We have David Marr says he believes Derek is 6'8", 350. Is Derek Smith 350 pounds?
well. I'm 340, so I can believe that. Yeah, I mean, he towered over me. Like it was like I couldn't believe how big a man he was. You know,
Yeah.
he's bigger than Heidebreck, and
I,
and
man, I used to be the biggest guy in my class wherever I went.
yeah,
And then all of a
and
sudden,
now you're just 6'4".
yeah. Now I'm like, I remember being in a class with Paul Fisher and Tom Taylor, and those guys are both a couple or a few inches taller than me.
Yeah, I remember meeting Paul Fisher at the Arnold's. A super nice guy, big man.
Yeah, huge guys. Now all these giants are coming along, and I'm feeling kind of average. Like
Yeah.
maybe there should be
Well,
like a 242 to 300 class for us
well,
to.
think about me, man. I'm like I'm a blown up heavyweight, right? Like I'm not really a super heavyweight, and with my dimensions, and I'm really considering, like, if I want to be competitive in the sport, can I remain a super heavyweight with all what's coming up? And I'm getting older.
But I mean, if we're talking World Arm Wrestling League, you have to go a long way
Yeah,
to find a lower class.
yeah,
It's
right.
no
That's
longer 225. It's like 140 pounds away.
yeah.
You got 140 pounds to lose?
Oh, I'm sure.
But you'd have to avoid every exercise from the chest down. Yeah, you'd have to have Earl Wilson legs.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Perfectly built arm wrestler, him and RVJ, right? Like these gorilla type upper bodies with these little legs.
Yeah,
Perfect arm wrestling body.
yeah. Although I mean Earl, he's a super heavyweight anyway, so it doesn't really matter if he were to show up with Quadzilla someday. But
Yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah,
let's get into that. I mean, you told me you had a goal of losing weight. I mean, what's the goal here?
I would like to be 299 by my birthday, which is February 5th.
And that's about 40 pounds off, eh?
Yeah,
That's not bad. I mean, you can do that
yeah, yeah.
and maintaining strength.
I want to be like, and to be honest with you, me at 300 pounds, I look like an average dude. Like the last time I was 300 pounds, I would tell people I was 300 pounds, and they'd be like, "Yeah, whatever." You know what I mean?
I feel the same way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for me, that's like if I'm not blown way up, they're
Yeah.
like, "Wow, you're what, 240?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"No, man,
Yeah.
I'm 300 pounds."
Yeah. Yeah. That's what everyone's. I'll ask people, and they'll say no higher than 240 when I'm 300 pounds. They just
Yeah.
can't fathom that. You know what I mean? Like they would, because I can wear regular clothes at 300 pounds. Like I don't have to go to the big and tall. You know what I mean? I can get into a 2XL at 300 pounds. So
Yeah, I think I can too.
Yeah.
and it's kind of freaky, but it's we become average at that weight for some reason.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
But
what?
but the giants of the sport, like, and you got to include my son. Now, my son is about an inch and a half taller than me. He just dwarfs me in every way. And he's, you know what? He actually reminds me of you, Ryan, and that he's a big man who's athletic and he can hit hard. You know, and he's got that big hand, so he has a lot of rotation.
Hmm.
And I've actually told him to look at videos of you and different guys that are big men with quick hitting ability.
Well, that's flattering because if you were to look at some of those, remember, the WAL stats where it ranks you in certain
Yeah,
areas.
yeah.
Yeah, mine are all over the place.
Really?
Yeah, like the hit is not a strong suit that they think that I have.
Get out, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw those statistics as well, and I was comparing mine and Tom Nelson's, and he had a higher IQ than me, and he had this and that and everything, and this remained even after I beat him 3-0. I was like, how's that possible?
Well, I rewatched both of those matches last night ahead of our show today. I watched the Mike Ayello one, and to me, it looked like he was just able to get a little bit better position off the start,
Yeah,
and then wait you out a little bit. But then in the Tom Nelson one, that match didn't look close to me at all.
no. So there's a little bit of truth and a little bit of what you can't see in both of what you just said, because um, I feel like Tom was much stronger than it looked. You know what I mean? Like, especially in that first match where there was a couple of times there where I was like, man, I'm hitting his lock, I'm hitting his lock, and he looked comfortable. You know what I mean? He looked comfortable, and so I just adjusted my elbow and tried, anywhere, find an angle, and they called pin. I don't know, like he says it wasn't a pin, but I'm not there to argue with the referees. The second match, I I think he wasn't paying attention. Like he didn't close his hand. Like, did you notice that? Like, or he
Yeah, I did.
like, why didn't I mean, we're there to have a super match, but you have to understand, I was so motivated. Hey, how's it going?
Can you see our
Yeah,
special guest that just popped into the show for some reason? Here he is.
yeah, hey, buddy.
I
So,
see Ian's pretty little face there.
Yeah. Um, so I was talking to Jamie, right, the guy that handles us.
I can't hear. I can't hear Ian.
Oh no,
oh, Jeff comes here and just disrupts the whole thing.
all right.
You keep telling your story, and when you're done your story,
You'll,
um,
you'll fill him in.
I'll fill him in.
Okay, so
I
I
tell you what. I'll let you guys go. I was just getting in to say. Uh, I gotta go anyways. So I
Jeff
was just saying good morning. Hello to Ian. Kick some ass. You and Derek Smith.
all
TAL.
right, brother.
Enjoy the show with
and
Mr.
Jeff,
Espey.
before you go, good luck on your super match. Jeff's
Yeah, good
got
luck.
Aaron Skaggs coming up here.
Good luck to you, man.
10 o'clock tomorrow.
10 o'clock tomorrow. Enjoy your 12 hours of flying.
Thanks, brother.
All right, we'll see you later.
See you, boys.
He's gonna be jet lagged. That's unfortunate.
So
Um,
please continue with your story.
so James, okay, I'm gonna take a step back. Tom Nelson, and I like him. You know, I didn't though going into the match. He had infuriated me to the point where I had contemplated fighting him. Do you know what I mean? Like he was super rude, um, and he was like calling like things about my family, all kinds of stuff. Just the month prior to the match, and I remember saying to myself, I didn't know if I could beat Tom Nelson because years before, he just grabbed me in a tournament, and just went like I was like, oh fuck, I'm never gonna be as good as this guy. That's the way it seemed. He just was. We're only this much difference in height, but he
Yeah.
was a big man. You know what I mean? He's got big bones and stuff like that. And I remember saying to myself that this was a family sort of like tapped into my warrior spirit. Do you get what I mean? Like my son had heard some of the shit that he said, my father, because we're all Facebook friends, and he was posting on my page like all the time, making reference to Fat Bastard and me and putting my face on Fat Bastard. And so one of the things that I'm going to tell a secret about me that I probably shouldn't, since a lot of my competitors will be listening, but I don't react like, how a lot of people, if you call them names and you get like that, it gets into their head and it might fuck up them, like their focus and stuff, like they get all battle.
I think that's what he's going for. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like that with me. I take things like almost like religiously, you know what I mean? Like I become like hyper aware, hyper focused, and I just become like, okay, this is now my everything, And I said I didn't know if I could beat him going into the match, but I knew I couldn't lose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I had trained so hard. I trained so hard for Tom. I remember Jamie, getting back to what I was about to say, when I was, so they called me into the green room, right? Which is just a room with the TV and you can watch the previous match. They just want you in position for, how it is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm like this on the couch watching it, just calm as can be. And I know that I had said to myself, there's nothing I could have done more. So if I lose, he's the better man. You know what I mean? But I didn't cheat myself. I did everything I could. I trained so hard. You know what I mean? I was prepared. Jamie came in the room and he saw me like that. Then he went into Tom Nelson's room and he's got like the headphones and he's rocking out and he's pacing and he's like getting all excited. And some people need that, right? To get fired up. I had chose to take everything calm and just wait to expend my energy on the table, right? Now,
had you and Tom had any interaction at the in person up to that point?
Yeah, which kind of I wish I hadn't. I mean, yes, it was good, but I felt like it took some of my edge off because he hugged me and he was like, it's all fine. You get what I mean?
I get what you mean.
I was like, oh, no, I don't need this right now. I need to I have to hate you for me to get. That's the thing. I've never done well against people that I like in arm wrestling. Yeah. It's such a, you know what I mean? Because I don't want to lose, but I don't mind losing to a guy I like. You know what I mean? So I almost feel like I'd rather, just get away from me. You called me all these names. You don't like me. You know what I mean? Let's just leave it at that, So right before, he did all this stuff and he talked to my son and everything. That really kind of amps me down because I was like, he's being nice to my son. You know what I mean? So, but I think my son was like, this is a wolf in sheep's clothing. Like I could just see him, and he's going after my dad. So I decided to put pressure on me. Like I brought Liam to Chicago. I wanted him to see his father, represent the family. You know what I mean? That's how I took it. Like the Carnegie name, you're a Carnegie. When someone steps on you and calls you names and, you have to face your enemies. You know what I mean? And I wanted him to see me do that, and that's why I said I put the pressure on me to do that. Right. And, so when we had our match and it was all said and done, even Tom recognized that. You know what I mean? He was like, that must be great for your son to see you achieve that. And unfortunately, I don't think Tom was in the best of state for himself. Like he's the biggest I'd ever seen him though. He was like 260. Like he's not normally a 260 guy, right? Like he's a 242.
Even smaller, maybe 220-ish at times.
Yeah. No, but he was a big guy, but who knows if that's good weight or not. And I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt and say it probably wasn't due to the fact that he had issues was going on with me, So I felt kind of good. I felt that I achieved what I needed to achieve with the Tom Nelson fight, and I think I believed started drinking my own Kool-Aid uh, when I believe in my own hype and drinking my own Kool-Aid when I met up with Mike Ayello. Yeah.
So tell me about the one thing I watched that match. After you pinned him for the third time, he made a complaint to the referee. Now, was that just an attempt to save some face, or was there actually what was he saying happened that would have changed the outcome of that match? Because I saw nothing.
So I see his argument. The way he's saying that he wasn't pinned and that her angle, um, like he's like, how can you see that as a pin? And I don't know if it was or not. I honestly don't. But I'm not going to sit there and argue um, on his behalf. If she calls a pin, you know what I mean? It's a pin. Like like I've. How many times has that happened to you where you go down a certain distance, you stop the match, they call pin, and you're like, I've been in this position 1,000 times. This is where I stop people. It's not a pin, right? And
It's happened to me a lot, actually.
yeah, because I'm strongest in my negative cycle, right? Like you hit into my. Sometimes I'll let people like if I know where they hit and I can position myself, I'll hit for that position because I know they'll hit my sweet spot, and then I'll be like, okay, let's go, and then they call winner. So I feel like he probably felt that he went, you know what I mean? He went into his lock and they called winner, and it just fucking set him off because he's like, you know, things aren't going well for him as it is. He's down 2-0, and he's probably thinking like, Ian doesn't need any extra help in this scenario. He's already leading. Don't you know what I mean? Don't give him but listen, I was there to win the super match. What the referees, I'm not saying that it wasn't a pin either. I'm just saying this is my thinking of what his thought process might have been.
And maybe he's trying to play a stamina game with you a little bit, but in order,
Yeah.
you got to win match 3.
Well, I think I heard him. I know that he got hurt like a week later. He pulled somebody and he tore something in his bicep or whatever. So it's a potential that he was hurt either with me or that there was enough soft tissue wear that it caused him to hurt the next time he pulled. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and he's a competitive guy and he's a good arm wrestler. Let's be real. Like he's
good. He's really good.
He's a really good arm wrestler and. Left-handed, it's not even close. Like I said, he wanted to pull me left afterwards, and it was just like, like I wasn't close.
It's what he's known for.
Yeah, and so I was like, okay, but that wasn't the super match. I don't give a shit. I didn't even train my left hand.
Yeah, that's not what you
like I was there to prove a point.
Yeah.
And then I started drinking my own Kool-Aid, as I said.
And then what happened? At what point did you get to go with Devin and get on TV and pull Shaq? Was that previous to that or after that?
Well, that was definitely after that. I think it was after Tom Nelson, but before Mike Ayello. I believe, yeah. I'm so bad with dates and shit, but I'm willing to set the record straight on the whole Shaq thing, though.
Sure.
Okay. First of all, Shaq is the strongest human being that I've ever felt that does an arm wrestle.
Okay.
Like his hand wrapped around my hand, like it's like there's not enough. I don't know how to explain it. It's like I felt like a child. I felt like a child, like arm wrestling his dad. Like the difference in hand size is like an 8-year-old to a father. That was the difference in hand size, and just like Shaq is so big, he has his own gravity. You know what I mean? He just sucks people towards him. Like it's just he's so big and he's really strong. Like, ask Devin about him. Like, say, like, Devin will tell you he's a strong, strong man. But here's the thing. So I flew in with Devin, right? And I can't remember if it was the night before. I think it was the night before. And Devin, I'm an arm wrestler. He's an arm wrestler, and he can't not touch you. You know what I mean? He has to arm wrestle.
Yeah, yeah.
So basically, a day and a half of arm wrestling Devin, and then we had that John Cena. I don't know if you've ever seen that, but we had it was a gig for John Cena. It was like E-League versus Bleacher Report. Okay, and we did this skit where we took a member from each of them and we got them to have a super match, and then they asked us to pull, and so I gave a decent match to Devin right-handed, made him work really hard, but when I was done pulling Devin, I was like, I don't know if I could beat my sister. Going into tonight, like yeah. I was like, oh, I remember eating. We went to this cafeteria and Turner Sports, and I remember like holding the fork and my hand was shaking, and I'm thinking, I'm gonna lose to Shaq tonight. Like, I knew it. I'm gonna lose to Shaq, and so what? Here's what happened. So we get there. My left, he wants to pull left, and I'm like, oh, and I'm like, okay. So when we grip up, and I hit him over like this, I knew immediately that the only way that I was going to pin him is if I like wrap my leg around the table, come in with my shoulder, and and go crazy.
Yeah.
Right? Which might have broke his arm.
Yeah. It's possible. Yeah.
Because he's sitting there, he's all joint and he's doing this. Like,
yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, this is not how I want to get famous. You know what I mean? And I had to make the decision. Like, his muscles were stronger than mine at that moment, for sure. You know what I mean? So I'm like this. And I'm like, okay, I'll hold on and he's going to pin me and I just got to suck it up. You know what I mean? Because do you understand what I mean? Like,
I know exactly what you're saying.
It sucks, but my pride, I had to let it go. He's Shaq. First of all, he's one of my idols. I played basketball in college. A lot of people find that funny. Every time I say I played ball, people think football because of what I ended up looking like. But I was an athlete growing up, and I played like a strong style. Like, I would go into people. I was always aggressive, and Shaq was like the ultimate alpha male, and just I love the idea of just dunking on people, and like just moving them out of the way. And so and Devin's the same way. He feels like Shaq is the most awesome specimen of human being, right? And so we're both in awe of the guy, but there's no chance that I was gonna break his arm. But I'm so happy, thank Lord Jesus, that he accepted a right-handed match, because I would never have been able to live it down. That being said, when I gripped up, I was still cognizant of that I could have hurt him, and I think I did tweak his arm. If you watch the video, because he grabbed here, but if you watch, I pull back a little bit and I control him down as safe as I could. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As safely as possible. But his pressure, side pressure this way, I was like, man, I bet you, if a guy like you, or someone who really knows his shit with top rolling, was to teach him how to arm wrestle, he would be a star immediately.
We have a couple of comments related to this. David Marr says Devin still considers Shaq to be the strongest non-arm wrestler he's ever gripped, which is saying a lot, because one of the other questions is, who wins in arm wrestling, Shaq or Hathor?
Shaq. I've never pulled Hathor, but from what I've asked Devin this, and he's like, Shaq, no question. Shaq.
That's great, because two guys that don't know how to arm wrestle, and one of them is the world's strongest man.
So, okay, Hathor is the world's strongest man. He's 6'8",
Yeah.
He's 6'8", 410, right? Now he maximized that big frame to become the strongest man in the world. That's what he focused on. But do you think he's genetically the strongest man in the world?
No, I don't.
And I would say that Shaquille O'Neal is right up there. You know what I mean? As genetically one of the strongest men in the world.
That's fascinating.
Think about this for a second. He's a lazy guy, Shaq. You know, he self-admitted like he could have dieted, he could have trained harder, you know, but you know he had like a bench press of near 400 pounds, and it's like he never really focused on that. Like me, to reach 400 pounds, I have to dedicate like everything. You know what I mean? And I never reached 400 pounds. I think 395 was my heaviest bench, and I focused on it. You know. And Shaq is like, yeah, 400 pounds, barely trained for it, right? What do
Yeah.
you think Shaq's potential had he not played basketball
Oof.
and just focus on strongman? Like, think of how strong that Felix guy. I'm not saying because he's black, you know, he's able to do this. I'm just saying his genetics, like his frame. But you know that Mark Felix,
I do know Mark Felix is one of the oldest strongman competitors and still at the top of the food chain.
and it has a lot to do with this massive hands that he has, right? And I think Shaq would have incredible advantages, especially in the leverage game everywhere, right? And yeah, so he's definitely a strong guy. Charles Barkley is a really cool guy, though. I really thought Charles Barkley was EJ and Kenny Smith, and you know they're all great guys. I thought Charles Barkley had time for everyone. You know what I mean?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he even waited after and just talked to us, and you know what I mean. Shaq comes up to us after. He's like, "You two white boys are the strongest white boys I ever met." It's like they didn't get political correctness right at the window. We have. I told him. I said we have a mutual friend, which is true. I played college ball with a guy named Joel Anthony, and he was a member of the Miami Heat when Shaq went to Miami, and so they became friends. So I said, "Yeah, I'm friends with Joel," so, which was kind of neat to talk about, you know.
Awesome. So who are you training with these days? Like you're doing, what are you doing for training, first of all, during the COVID times? But
Yeah,
you're
well,
practicing with some guys.
I have Liam upstairs,
Yeah.
and he's um, he's a great training partner. I've got a lot of little trinkets and stuff that I'm looking at there. I do a lot of training in front of my TV. Like people laugh at me, but I have a Thor hammer. I got these specialized dumbbells. I got a wrist strengthener, and I got this Thigh Master. Did you see my Thigh Master video?
No.
Okay, I gotta show you.
Okay.
Okay, so you know grippers, right? People say like gripping. It's not super essential, and this motion is not super. But would you agree that this motion is?
Yeah.
This okay. So a thigh master is for the thighs, right? But check what you can do with it. One second. Okay.
Oh my God.
Now check this out. If you bring your fingers right to the top of the where it starts to curve, as you open up, it actually attacks your fingers completely. You know, and this is meant for thighs, so the
Yeah.
resistance is good. And you know, and you just let it go as and check this out. Like it's got good resistance. And you
Well,
know,
it's an adductor machine. So I mean, yeah, that's, I'm going to separate this into its own clip, right? I have to, because nobody, nobody's, nobody's using a thigh master for arm wrestling training, as far as I know.
no. And then I got the Everlast wrist. Um, I don't know. You've seen them, right? Like they have a handle.
Yeah, they got like a little tightener on them.
And then I made these dumbbells where they're two dumbbells, and one's a 8 pound, one's a 2.5, and I just hockey tape them together, and I hold them the 2.5s, and where the 8 pounds away from my hands, So basically, no matter, yeah, I'll show you.
Like a press weight.
So, you see that?
Medieval devices.
Yeah, but if you think about it, all the weights outside, so everything that I do, whether it's a bicep curl this way, hammer curl, shoulder, no matter what, my wrist is focusing on stabilizing the weight that's away from it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I got that, and then I got a Thor hammer that I won as a tournament trophy that I hockey taped, and I do all my levers backward, side, this way, and then I train with the Kingston Club. Sometimes I go to Belleville too and pull with Joe Gould and his club.
Who's in the Kingston Club?
So there's Mike Gould.
Yeah.
He's
That's enough.
yeah. There's Chris Doucette and Christos Senes. There's a lot of guys. You know what I mean? It goes on and on. But we have this new guy, and it's so funny because Devin showed up, and his name is John McAlpine, I believe, and he had been arm wrestling since the '80s. And Eric Roussin, I think, confirmed this, but he's got a win on John Brzenk.
Really?
Yeah, he's a big dude. I think he's in his 60s, and he dwarfs me, and real strong. Joe Gould had a super match with him. He beat him, but the sport is past him, right? With all the techniques and different things. I think he was during the turn and burn sort of everything, that era, and but he's learning, and every time I touch the guy, it's like holy frig! It's his strength, his muscular endurance is unbelievable. He'll pull all night. He'll just grab somebody and he'll hold. Like it's crazy. He's 60 years old.
Yeah. Hey, I want to ask you, because this has been something that's coming up a lot lately, and
Sure.
this is kind of general in the world of arm wrestling. But there is, first of all, like everyone has discovered that Devin Larratt is like steroids for your YouTube channel, right? You get Devin on there, you blow up. But it's gone a step further now where Larry Wheels, Schoolboy, all those guys, Michael Todd's even going over to Dubai. All the collaborations are going on. What do you think of the state of arm wrestling? All the talk of these new freaks like Khaled. What's your thoughts on the whole thing, man? Because there's even the like I've seen also all these channels kind of putting their own spin on all of this to try to get those trickle down clicks. What do you think of all that stuff?
I think it's great. When I first got into arm wrestling, I looked at it for what it was, and I imagined what it could be. You do know that I come from a family of pro wrestlers, right?
Yes, I do. Mad Dog.
Mad Dog, right? My mom, the Vivian, and there's another movie coming out actually about my family. It closed. It came to Kingston. It's called Mad Dog and the Butcher: The Last Villains, and COVID hit, and I had 18 tickets, and they closed it right in front of us. But I got a small clip in the movie as well. But the point is the showmanship, the presentation of arm wrestling, I thought lacked. I felt like we have a gladiator sport with a golf mentality. You know what I mean? Like everybody want to, be respectful and everything. And of course, I believe respect is an important thing in arm wrestling. Um, but I also feel like if you want people who are non-arm wrestling fans to watch the sport, then you're going to really. Do you need to pass? Go ahead. That was my youngest. Then you have to make it exciting for people that are not arm wrestlers. Also, just going to be like, what's arm wrestling to a non-arm wrestler? It's nothing, right? But if you say something or you make it exciting, then there's potential. and then you can root for somebody, or like Travis figured out, I'll have everybody hate me and want me to lose, so they'll want me at all these events so they can hope that, you know what I mean. But he became an arm wrestler in demand, right?
Yeah.
Because you wanted to, he had a following of people that wanted to see him lose, including myself, for a long time before I met the guy. I was like, I can't stand this guy. Yeah.
At some
But
point, it shift for me too, and eventually, I wanted to see Travis get his ass kicked all these times, and then all of a sudden, I started wanting to see him win, and I
yeah,
was cheering for him all the time.
yeah, I find that I'm cheering for him as well. Like, I'd like to see him make a comeback over seas and spank some of these Europeans. But to be honest with you, but to get back to your original question, um, this is what I saw unwanted for our sport way back then. You know what I mean? Like, coming up with a nickname like the Grippler. Like, I was trying to market myself as a brand from a long time ago. Do you know what I mean?
I
And my
recall when that first came out. That was awesome.
and I remember, like, like being loud and boisterous, kind of like Evan Burgoyne without the alcohol. Um, you know, just because I wanted to have stage presence, and I wanted people to be like I was calling guys out that I had no business back then, like yourself, Earl, Mike. I was like, to me, it was like, I want to friend called.
Oh no, go on. We're good.
Yeah, I declined her call. She's gonna be so pissed. Um, yeah. So I was like, yo, like, I tell Devin, put those feelers out, like, and see if guys. It kind of did me a disservice because I didn't really understand the culture. You know what I mean? So, like,
Yeah.
instead of these guys like wanting to pull me, it became harder to find them. Because it was like, this guy wants a shot, but he's being such a dick that maybe we shouldn't give him one. And so I had to refocus on that. But now, things like, I think I'm suited perfectly for the WAL in terms of how I present myself. And, I think people like watching me, especially in a live event. I communicate with the crowd. I feel the vibe and the energy. Even on my loss, I feel like the crowd is still going for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah. But
Well,
I
that,
think what's going on with these non-arm wrestlers in the strength sports, it gives them an outlet to actually compete against themselves without bashing each other's face in. You know what I mean? Like, how do you know who's more alpha between Larry Wheels and that German bodybuilder? Who knows? Like, let's see them arm wrestle. You know what I mean? Let's see, because
yeah.
there's a fight in there. Arm wrestling is a fight, and it's a will. And I think this gives these bodybuilders and strongmen and other strength sport athletes an outlet to, like, you versus me, not me versus that weight. You know?
Right. Yeah. It's closer to a combat sport.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And look, we all know injuries can happen, and it sucks. It really sucks, because arm wrestling injuries are pretty gruesome, right? And you're out of work and training for, what is it? An arm breaks, what, 12 weeks?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
But with, like, teaching guys and giving them proper, once these strongmen like Larry Wheels and all them, once they really understand losing lanes and different things, and develop the proper, tendon strength and bone density, which they probably already have a little bit because of all the training that they're stressing their bones anyway, right? But we know arm wrestling is a little different. But once they start doing that, then the likelihood of those injuries will start to decrease,
Yeah.
And with that, then they'll want to continue this, and all the strength sports genres will start looking at arm wrestling as sort of like the tip of the spear. It's like, how do we get this tug of war guy to pull this Highland Games guy, or how do we get this? You get what I mean? how do we get this strong man to pull this power, to compete against this power lifter? Do you get it? And you know what I mean? Because this is my discipline, and I'm the best and strongest at this. And well, this is my discipline. You can't like flip the disciplines because you know they'll lose. But if arm wrestling is the common denominator that they both can do.
Well, and WAL has been dabbling in that a little bit.
Yeah.
I got one question because I'm curious about what your opinion is. There's two mentalities right now that seem to be out there in social media.
Okay.
One is whatever I film is proprietarily mine. Do not take it. Do not copy it. Do not do anything with it. That's the one mentality. You've seen that a little bit, maybe with the Arm TV stuff. They've talked a bit about it. The other mentality is it's open season. You know, a rising tide floats all ships, and take it, use it. Where do you think that the right answer is? Is it one or the other, or somewhere in the middle?
So, I'll tell you from personal experience, while using Scott McInnes's stuff. Okay, so do you remember when I used to do highlight reels for people?
Sure do.
Okay, so all he asked was that I gave him credit, like at the beginning and end of the video, like put the logo, his banners up, so that people understood that the film that they're seeing, there's going to be a like Scott McInnes's product on here, right? So I think if you're smart, you want your stuff viewed by the masses, and as long as someone can do that, and so that it can be traced back to you, then I think people should allow it. You know, like for example, if I say I started a YouTube channel and I pull Larry Wheels, and it's like, and I put it on, but I use my film and all that stuff. I mean, I'd be stupid not to like be like, here, would you like this to upload this to your site? Like, you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's gonna have way more of a following than me. So, you know, and I think if attaching yourself to a guy like Larry Wheels or whoever is Eric Spoda, could you imagine if he actually decided to become an arm wrestler?
I think he's already going down that path.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what it seems like anyway.
Yeah, he's so strong, right? And so like once these guys get into it, and all these alpha male people get into this arm wrestling and say, yeah, this is like the battleground that we want to, you know, then pump that out there, you know, I think it's great. Like I think everybody benefits from it, including yourself. And why do you want to hoard your own video? Why? Like, isn't it to be viewed? Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so, and as long as you're being represented, then, you know, people, okay, so if you saw a guy, I don't know if you do this, but I do this. Like, say I'm watching TV, a strongman or whatever, and I don't know him, and they say, oh, Joseph, blah, 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 blah. I'll be like, I'll Google him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I say, oh, okay, look at this guy is this and that and the other thing, and he's done this and that and the other thing. So that's what a lot of people in the world do. So if you're being on a Larry Wheels video, so a lot of people are like, who's Ian Carnegie? Blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden you're being Googled 500,000 times. So the Gary Roberts Arm TV thing, it's just a sad situation. Like I can understand both scenarios, but they've ironed it out, right?
I think they're good as far as the name and all that stuff go, but yeah, it was a little weird for a while there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all for the betterment of arm wrestling. Like all the content.
Or are we being worked? And this is all directed to drive traffic back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you should get Larry Wheels on your show.
You know, if Larry would ever come on my show, and you never know, maybe he would. I don't know. We're a pretty small operation compared to the Ryan Bowens and the Devons and the Arm Wrestling TV channels. But
if you did it,
we're growing.
Yeah, but then people are going to want to watch that, and then you hashtag Larry Wheels and that, and everyone's wants and then boom, all of a sudden you're super popular and you're right up there with the Ryan Bowens and all that.
Yeah. Well, Ian, it's 50 minutes, and I think we closed on a high note. And the Grippler, man, we go way back. There was one question: have you and I pulled lately? The answer is no. I think we pulled once, and it was 2007. 2007.
Did we not pull in Ottawa, left-handed? I think.
Yes, maybe we did.
I believe you're 1-1. Sorry, like 1 win, 0 losses, right-handed, 1 win, 0 losses, left-handed versus me. I've always wanted to pull you, Ryan. I consider you the better arm wrestler. You are way more accomplished, and I've looked up to you for a long time, to be honest with you.
I appreciate that, man.
Oh yeah, no problem. I wanted to pull you so bad right-handed in Ottawa. It's like, but you had pulled Mike Ayello.
I pulled the police and fire games 2 days earlier.
Yeah, so you weren't feeling it, but I got my lesson given to me there by Mike Gould in the finals. So wasn't going to win the national title that year, anyways. So.
Well, right on, man. I wish you the best.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you coming on the show so much. And when this is all done and posted, make sure you go back and check out all the public chat or the chat that's going on. There's a lot of people saying hi and giving shouts. So
okay, cool.
I redrew it all, but yeah, all the best, man.
All right. Well, thanks, Ryan. I appreciate you having me on the show.
Right on. Thanks, man. We'll talk soon. And the rest of you guys, we'll see you next week.